Alright, so today you'll see exactly how it would work on a $5,500 project that a member recently just closed within a month with his sales agency. He had a very scrappy start, but he still did it, which just gets to show you guys that perfection is really the enemy of most people trying to do this sort of stuff. So the goal of this video is to pull back the curtain on what I would personally do if I actually close this client to give you guys value in terms of not just getting the client to pay you tons of money, but also what comes after. And for some context, when I hopped on a call with him, since each member that makes money or closes a client hops on something that I like to call first client reward, where I just give them like a simple roadmap to deliver the project, which I found it really does calm the anxiety, especially after making money operating an internet business. And he told me before the call that he closed another client, which I believe it was around 4K, which was very interesting because it just gets to show you guys that when you have momentum, you're kind of like a rocket flying through the earth to escape the atmosphere. It doesn't freaking stop. So let's get into it. 5.5K deal could be 6.7, only my second meeting ever. Wow, that's insane. Quick apology for the long post. Couldn't help it. Too excited. Started with the B2B SaaS back in mid-July after completing the modules, then switched to recruitment. It took me 5 campaigns in the recruitment niche to land this deal. This deal, 5.5K, total value, no guarantee, like Saad always says. Yeah, to give you guys some context, I always like all my stuff, like everything that I sell in terms of like sales systems, my services, there's no guarantee, right? I never offer guarantees, and I don't recommend you guys mention like guarantees or like mention refunds, etc., because it just makes you seem like a generic service provider, right? When you are a growth partner, well, you don't offer guarantees because the money that the client invested is already invested in their growth, right? And it does cover your time, it makes you profitable, which is the reason why I never mention guarantees, and highly recommend you guys also don't talk about guarantees. If they say, do you offer guarantees? Well, you're going to say, well, we're going to keep working until we get to the outcome that you want. Okay. So the total deal is $1,500 upfront already received. To give you guys some context, he essentially started back in mid-July, and he essentially just was kind of like just throwing stuff at the wall. But I believe he sent me a message, like a DM, and then I quickly just gave him kind of like my thoughts on what he was doing, and I simply just gave him a roadmap, and within a month, he just closed his deal, which is insane, like 5.5K, right? Which is really, really good. So $1,500 upfront already received, and this is kind of like the split payment that he did with the clients, right? The funny and the painful parts, my first meeting was a disaster, of course. Classic. I mean, my first meeting with this was a disaster too. And like funny story, I hopped on a call with this lady. She was she worked at a marketing agency. Well, she had a marketing agency and she had like a business partner. And I believe she worked with Google, and her partner worked on Facebook. Well, he was an employee in Facebook. And I remember she said, so Saad, what are you gonna do for us? And my first call, I was very naive, right? I was very like new to this stuff. And she said, I asked her, how are you guys getting clients right now? And she said, well, through referrals. And since I was very naive, like I did not intend anything bad, I was like, well, if you have just referrals, I said that in a very cute voice. If you just rely on referrals, well, that's not like a real business. And she got really, really mad on the call, and like she got really triggered. And the funny part is that I actually ended up closing that deal. So camera glitch, audio only, fumbled the entire pitch, share my screen but prospect couldn't see it, went overtime. So all of this is very scrappy, but he still managed to close the deal because the pain is there, that's one, and two, you're solving a real life business problem because you're automating their entire lead gen, you're connecting them with their ideal clients or building them systems that connect them with their ideal clients. So they see the value, even if your setup is scrappy. And you know, paradoxically, let me give you guys something. This is wisdom, by the way. Your scrappy setup, paradoxically or ironically, makes you close more deals because people now focus on the actual value that you're providing, right? Not kind of like your setup on how flashy it is. Because let's say this is person A and there's person B. This one has like a flashy setup. They have all the expensive setup. The second one is just a normal setup, maybe scrappy, but this one provides value and like solves your problem, but this one doesn't. Like, you're gonna trust this person, right? Your unconscious mind is gonna trust this person because it kind of like implies that this person doesn't really care about the scrappy setup because he knows what he's doing or she knows what she's doing. So they only care about the value, right? This is how the unconscious mind just picks up these patterns unconsciously. Very interesting, right? But I corrected everything on the second meeting. Still wasn't perfect, but got lucky and they signed. Back in April, I broke my wrist playing cricket. Surgery cost me $3K. Insurance covers 60%, but still, I was stuck at home for a month with nothing to do. My YouTube feed got flooded with AI automation videos and started learning everything with one app. Then I found Nick's channel. Oh yeah, shout out to Nick's Rive, one of my best friends. Then Saad's channel got recommended. Interesting. Joined the community in July and was blown away by the value here. Yeah, a lot of people actually come from Nick, which is very interesting. Like a lot of people, like they would join SSM, they would come and they're like, hey, I found you through Nick. And like, I found your YouTube video. It was recommended, which is very, like, I love these messages from you guys. And also love you guys' messages from LinkedIn. Absolutely love it. Your questions are always on point. Shout out to Saad. This guy is incredible. Thank you, my friend. He answers every DM, every single DM, clears every doubt and on every post. Then this thought came to me, I should get a client before this community floods with members. Yeah, I probably will cap it at 400 just because I don't like I don't like when people like have like 1,000 members. Like I know everyone like by name. So it's very like, I don't know, it just loses that community feel, right? I literally thought I wouldn't get the same guidance if it got too big. Just kidding. There was even a month where my financials got tight and I couldn't afford tools or a community. Saad helped me out. Yeah, that's fine, my friend. Forever grateful for that, brother. Yeah, no worries, my friend. What I actually did mostly was Saad teaches. So I had to like cut down these screenshots because it was a very long post, but it's usually the same tactics that I always talk about in this channel. Okay. So first of all, let's talk about his clients, what they do. Well, you named it. I'll wait. What is the actual industry that his clients operates in? Well, drum roll, it's recruitment. I believe like 70% of people that close their first clients and actually niche down and get to that 30, 40K a month always stick within the recruitment, because I believe in the last video, I talked about how the recruitment like industry is one of the best niches to go for. I even niched down into the recruitment industry when I was making like 30, 35K a month. So highly recommend you go for it if you want to get your first client or maybe even scale to that 25K a month. You can totally do that, right? So his clients is a recruitment agency in the manufacturing space. Okay, so essentially they want to talk to. So this is kind of like the onboarding. He sent me an onboarding, and during the like first client award, we kind of like just talked about like the benefits of the offer of the client, the system, like what the system is gonna do, like the targeting, etc. So they want a system that will help them place, superintendents and QC managers, right? So they're kind of like a recruitment agency within the construction / manufacturing niche, which is really, really good. Okay. Now let's talk about what happens after you close a deal, because you might be thinking, Saad, well, okay, what happens after I close a deal? Well, let's start from the beginning. Obviously, when you sign a client, they have to pay you money. You need to receive your money, right, in your bank account or like Stripe, whatever. Highly recommend you use Stripe because it just removes the friction. They can just click on pay and you get paid, or you can use PayPal. You can still use bank transfer. It doesn't really matter, right? So it's just the easiest and the most frictionless way for you to get paid. That's what we care about, right? Because the end goal is making money. So once they pay you, usually have to go through the onboarding process or the kickoff phase. Saad, what is the kickoff phase or the onboarding process? Well, it's simply just a 15 to 20 minute call where both you and the client that paid you do this, right? So you do this. The clients will fill out a simple form live on the call. I'm going to share with you my form that I use. So welcome to your onboarding. I'm going to make sure to kind of like wait 1 second and pause so you can like pause this video and like copy the text format. So you can see this. There we go. There we go again. There we go again. There we go again. Another one. Another one. Another one. Another one. And then let me scroll down. So you kind of like just pause and kind of copy everything here. This is just Typeform. You can use any form that you want, right? It could be Tally, Google Form, whatever. I'll just use Typeform because it allows me to add kind of like my background here because I love the space. I was actually a space nerd when I was a kid, and I get to put like my logo, just makes me more perceived as a higher value. Okay. So once they fill out this form on the call, they would give you everything you need in terms of business assets, information that is needed in order for you to actually deliver the project. You also make sure you and the client both know what will happen and when, right? After you start the project. And you also want to agree on what you're trying to achieve and what you'll hand over. And also you're going to tell them how often you'll talk and when you're going to be available for like quick messages, or essentially like when they can actually message you, right? And when you can give them progress updates. What I do is twice a week I give them progress updates. And from Monday to Friday, from 10 a.m. to all the way like 2 p.m. to 30 p.m. Sometimes even earlier, right? If I have like other things to do. My advice, which is I think is like the most important thing, my advice is always hop on this call. Don't make the mistake that I used to make back then of skipping it and just handling everything async. What do I mean by async? Essentially just texting them, right? Don't do it. Always hop on that call, 15 to 20 minute call, high ROI because you get everything. And also never send like a questionnaire and just wait, okay? Go through it together because this is where you shine. This is kind of like where you show them exactly what's going to happen. And now you're kind of like, and you have this, power, you use this power move where you're kind of like an authority right now. So they have to listen to you and you're kind of like just walking them through the process, right? So I hope you found value in this one. Now, what I'm going to do right now is I'm simply just going to map how the system is going to allow this recruitment client to actually reach their ideal clients, which is always going to be some sort of company hiring for these candidates, right? Which is they have like superintendent, QC managers. So we're going to build a system that allows us to find companies that are hiring for these roles, right? Automatically, it's gonna handle the enrichment, finding the emails, all the way to generating like a hyper-personalized copy, which I'm very excited to share it with you guys. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and map out the system for you. So step one is we need the system to scrape LinkedIn jobs, okay? We need the system to scrape some sort of like directory or like a B2B lead sourcing database where we can find companies hiring. And the best lead sourcing database or like directory where we can find B2B companies that are constantly hiring, well, it's LinkedIn. So system scrapes LinkedIn jobs. So LinkedIn jobs. Right? So we can get kind of like the job title, the company name that is actually hiring for that role. And then step two is we need to do some sort of like enrichment. Now, enrichment is, in simple terms, very, very simple, is trying to find contact details. So the system is going to allow us to kind of like enrich and find the contact of the decision makers within that company that is currently hiring. Now, it's not going to be HR. Reason why? In construction, HR, they don't make the decision. So you want to go for VP of constructions, operations managers, and project executives, and also owners for like smaller firms, right? So that's exactly what we're going to do. So system, we're going to say system enriches for right decision maker, okay? Which is going to be VP, these ones, a VP of construction, operations manager, project executive, and owner. Okay. And after that, the system is the system is going to pull these decision makers' names, etc. Then it's going to send it to another API to find emails. Now, to find emails, we're simply just going to use like a simple, straightforward platform like Prospeo and Email Finder. You give it like a full name of a person along with the company name or like a domain, and they kind of like just give you the email. Now, in terms of like system enriches for the right people, there's multiple ways, right? Multiple ways to enrich. There's PDL, which is kind of like a platform. It's called People's Data Labs. Same thing, you give them like a domain and they give you kind of like a persona or like a job title. They kind of like enrich the contacts for you. You can also use Apollo, by the way. A lot of people think that Apollo is kind of like just like a lead sourcing database, but no, you can actually enrich people inside and find the people. Reason why is it? Because think about it. Like Apollo is a lead sourcing database, right? Like lead sourcing database. But what's inside the lead sourcing database? Well, we have leads and prospects. Well, the way it works is that let's say you give this lead sourcing database a domain name or like a company name. It kind of like tries to search within the database these contacts, right? This is how it works, right? Because when you have a database, you can just search, right? Just search the domain, because it's already there, to pull the right decision makers in the contacts, right? So there's Apollo. If you're wondering what's the endpoint, it's people search Apollo. This is the one. It's called people search. This is an endpoint. Since it's a lead sourcing database, they're just going to pull the contacts, right? And after that, so step 4, we're just going to generate AI personalization. So AI personalization. And the last step, which is going to be basically just add into Instantly. Instantly is basically just like a cold email software that allows you to send thousands, millions of outreach messages at scale. Okay, so this is kind of like the system. By the way, I forgot to add one more thing. Yeah, in order for you to actually find kind of like the decision makers and enrich, not only PDL or Apollo, but I found a hack, which is Google search. I think we're going to use it today. It's kind of like a hack that I came up with probably like a year and a half ago, which allows you to find decision makers and contacts of a company. Because I mean, think about it in first principle. How do we find a decision maker within a company? We're simply just Googling them, because if I type in, for example, Mario Process founder, I'm going to get sought, right? So we can essentially do the same thing at scale. So this is exactly what we're going to be doing today, because it's extremely affordable, right? So now we have kind of like the system overview. Let's just go ahead and build this out from scratch. Step 1 is I'm going to go to LinkedIn jobs. What I'm going to do is I'm simply just going to put the title and skills that I want. I'm going to make sure it's United States. And by the way, in terms of like LinkedIn, you can use a hack, which is Boolean searches. And this is the Boolean search that I used, which is this one. This is the one that I gave him. So you can kind of like put in one Boolean search multiple roles, all right, along with the industry. So if I paste this here, I'm going to get 10,000 results, which is a lot. So restoration, historic, building project. Construction development. So this is like within our industry. So what we want, let's go to past month, 7K results. We already got 7K results, which is a lot. So now we have this search. So what do we do with it? We need to scrape it. So step 2 is we're going to go to Apify to actually scrape this. Okay. So we're just going to type in LinkedIn jobs. And the one that I want is going to be the paper result. And you want to put this here. I don't care about the company's details for now, because I'm going to do my own enrichment. And let's just put, for example, 300. So this is a paper result, $1 per 1,000 results. So simply just click on, yeah, that's it, save and start. And now the scraper is going to go ahead and scrape the data for you. So you will see that log here started in the container. So this generated while logged into results, scrape 25. So just ignore this thing here. If you go here, so we kind of like found everything. Oh yeah, there we go. Archie Construction LLC. There we go. So this is the guy, founder and CEO of Archie Construction. So this is kind of like the way that Google Search API works to find the decision makers, or like enrich decision makers, or like enrich contact details to find like the people that you want to talk to, or what your system is going to connect your client to. Okay. But we're going to do it automatically using Make. Okay. So now we have 125, which was very, very quick. So right now I'm simply going to go to make.com and we're going to build a system that's going to automate this entire stuff. The process is going to be very, very straightforward. So even if you've never touched make.com before, you're going to be pretty much good to go. So step 1 is I need to go to Apify, because I used Apify, right? So Apify, and there's like an entire module here in Make. Get data set items. Make sure you go to add and kind of like add your API key, which is going to be in settings. And you want to go to API integrations and default API token, not API CLI. This one. Go to Apify API token. You can totally name this whatever you want. So I'm just going to name it, for example, demo, recruitment, 5K, 5.5K. That $500 makes big difference. So now the only thing you have to do is just go back. So let me go back to runs. This is the last one. And we scraped 300, which was very quick, 1 minute. So you want to go to storage, copy this, and simply paste it here. By the way, I'm just using like a free account at Apify, and I still managed to scrape data for free, which is insane. So I'm going to put 1 here. The reason why I don't put 1 is you want to just get 1 record for now, instead of like pulling 300, because you want to build a system first and to kind of like save in operations, right? So now we have everything. We have the salary, description text, company logo. We also have the company name. So RKey Construction LLC. So it's going to be RKey Construction, obviously, once we claim the company names. So it's going to be get jobs. Sweet. So now I have the jobs, right? And these are posted 30 days ago. Posted as, so yeah, 30 days ago. This is back in October. So 30 days ago, 17, now it's 23. Okay, so now what do? Well, we need to find the decision maker. So we're going to make an HTTP request, make a request, and we're going to make a request to this API. It's called Google Search API. Okay, it's very, very straightforward. And the only thing that is going to change here, because if you want to go to Open Playground, and by the way, this is Rapid API. It provides like hundreds of APIs to use, even like APIs to scrape Apollo, jobs, whatever. So now what do we want? We see this Google Search Rapid API query Nike. So to give you like an example. So if I put Nike here, I'm doing the same thing, right? Just using it manually, right? But if I do it using API, I can just use this URL. Now we're not going to use this URL because we don't want to query Nike. So I'm simply going to use like I think I already have like a URL here in my playbook. I'm going to share with you this document. I pretty much like share this multiple times here. So the one that I want, yeah, this is the one. Use this when fulfilling for recruitment operations, not HR. So it's just very interesting when you like do this routinely every single day. You have like everything documented, right? Which now I can essentially just plug and play. So operations manager. So I'm simply going to put company name. So what we're doing here is we're querying founder or co-founder or CEO or owner or VP of constructions using Google. Okay, so go to headers, and I'm going to have to put myself here because you guys don't see my, like we're not going to see anything if I keep going. And now I'm simply just going to put the header here. You see this header? It's header. And then let's go back, copy this, and then add another header, which is going to be your API key. And it's like different for everyone. Everyone has their own API key once they sign up to Rapid API. So when you sign up, you're going to get your own. And then simply paste it here. And then make sure to go to partial response, save, and then run once. So let's see. So if you go to data, go to results, one, Michael Patterson, senior construction. So is this the actual guy within that company? So senior construction operations manager. Yeah, RKey Construction LLC. So this is the exact decision maker, and we did it at a fraction of a cost instead of like paying for People Data Labs or like Enrichment Apollo. Enrichment Apollo is probably like $49. So this is gonna be Google decision maker. Awesome. So that worked. So now that we have this, well, we need AI to kind of like read through the title and the LinkedIn page and kind of like just get the first and last name. So this is where AI shines. It's a very simple task for AI. So we're just going to use Azure, which is kind of like my AI model of choice. You can use anyone that you want. You can use Claude, Gemini, whatever, Perplexity, ChatGPT, like whatever you want. So I'm going to say return the full name from, and I'm going to add the results from title, output the full name only with no additional text. A very simple task for AI. Done. Michael Patterson. So clean name. So, okay, we have the decision maker, we have the company name. So what do we need now? Well, we need to find the email since we've done everything now, right? Which is awesome. It's very simple, 3 steps. So now, in order for us to find the email, well, we need an email enrichment platform. The one that I recommend is, and I talked about it like hundreds of times already, is an email finder. The best one in terms of like finding the emails, right? Finding verified emails because they only charge you per verified found emails. In his case, he's simply just going to use like the SSM Masters, which is again a platform that I built specifically for people in my community, and it finds emails. So it's the same thing as an email finder. It's just for free, right? Because an email finder is expensive because it's like $89 for 2K, 5K, $149. So people inside, they get unlimited, right? Unlimited tokens to find emails, which is pretty high ROI, don't you guys think? So let me go to app. When you sign up, you're going to get your API key. It's very straightforward. You're just going to go to API key, copy this, go back. Let me check if I'm recording. Yes, I am. I always have to make sure because sometimes like I'm recording and like my camera just died because I have the Canon M50 EOS, and I believe this is like for in any camera. They stop at like the 30-minute mark. Let me know if you guys have like a workaround when it comes to this. So company name is the company name, and the full name is the full name. So simply now, we're going to try to find the email. Let's see if an email finder is going to find the email. But yeah, it's a 50-50%, like all the time. So unknown. Let's try the second record. Let's offset. Offset just means skip. So we're going to skip the first record and check. So we found the decision maker. We found it. See, we found the second record. Wasim, because it's true, right? Wasim Barrow. This is the actual decision maker. So it's going to be find email. Great. So we found the email, we have the name, we Googled decision maker. Well, now we need to generate AI personalization. So I'm going to go to Azure again. And now I'm going to share with you guys a very, very cool prompt, which is this one. Prompt for recruitment fulfillment process. And you're going to see the magic. I'm going to use GPT-4o. So this prompt is kind of like plug and play. You can use it in any like sub niche within the recruitment. It's just for recruitment specifically. So right now, I'm simply going to add, check this out. We're going to add the company name. We're going to add the title. We're going to add posted ads. And we're also going to add description text. Now check this out. Notice Sendero is hiring for a QA QC manager. Sounds like a big job with all the travel. Finding someone with oil and gas QA experience and solid best knowledge in Houston must be a real challenge. So here's a prompt and let me read it. So generate a short friendly outreach message in 2 parts using the following format. So notice company is hiring for position name, then add a casual, non-obvious note about the role, like seniority, urgency, project scale. Keep it natural, something like a recruiter or a peer might say in a quick message. Follow up, explain why that kind of role is hard to fill locally. Mention something specific, for example, 10 years in federal jobs, certified QA and QC. Sounds like a peer who knows the market, not a sales pitch. And then instructions, we strip in like the kind of like the LTD LLC, because you guys already know that when you scrape data off the internet, you're going to find LLC, LTD. Now you can't say, I noticed like Sendero Energy Services, LLC, or like LTD. It's just Sendero. So now we have everything. So the last step is essentially just plugging everything into what I like to call a dream email. So it's kind of like preparing a cake. You give AI everything, and AI just gives you everything in return, right? So now I'm simply going to go back here, and this is the copy that I wrote for him. So the only thing we have to do is, hey, and we're going to add first name. So split base of a space, get 1. So we're essentially splitting based of a space and get in the first name. And then we're going to add the noticed and then the copy. Done. Now check this out. I'm going to add like a filter here. So only if email exists. Sweet. Check this out. Hey, Julio, notice Sendero is hiring for a QA and QC manager. It seems like you're ramping up for some heavy-duty renewables builds across the U.S., huh? Tough spot to fill in Houston since it's rare to find someone who's nailed down QA at a multi-scope project and has deep hands on in-wheel Indian compliance. Wow. Imagine AI writing this. This is just 10 out of 10, right? Dream email. Like the scary parts. I don't know if you guys noticed this. The ha. Insane, right? This is a really good prompt. Now, the last step is plugging everything to instantly. So create a lead. There we go. Now I'm going to go to instantly and let me like close all these tabs here. Done. And now I'm going to go to login. Campaigns, create new campaign. So 5.5K. And I have everything here. So let me just zoom out. And go to this Instantly account. Yeah, this is the one. The email is going to be the email found. The personalization is personalization. I'm just going to plug this right here to get the first and last name. So last name is going to be 2 because we get in 2, which is last name. First name is 1. Okay. Company name is the company name, which is here. Done. So the only thing we have to do is just go to Instantly and check out if we added everything. Of course we did. Now, if I add just personalization, and then I'm going to add send from my iPhone. Subject line, I'm going to put first name, quick intro. You will see that we have a bunch of variables, first name, last names, you just plug them into Instantly. Done. There you go. And now what we're going to do is simply just run this, for example, 10. Obviously, the first one is going to be added quickly. And my leads are getting added. Let's check this out. Hey, Anthony, notice Consigli is hired for a quality manager. That's tough. Locally, since finding someone with both whatever they post in their job description, because AI is reading through it. So certifications plus hands-on experience across so many collaboration layers isn't too common. I connect X, Y, and Z. This is the offer. So I connect construction companies with a recruitment firm that exclusively places superintendent and QC managers from a pre-vetted network of 4,000 construction professionals. They typically deliver candidates within 72 hours versus the 2-4 cycles most companies deal with. So this is kind of like the deliverable that the clients get. You're not selling anything. You're just connecting party A to party B. This is exactly the connector angle. You're just building systems that allow them to do this at scale. You're not selling anything. You're just connecting people, which I think this is like the reason why most people like right now are pivoting into like the connection angle, because you're not selling anything, right? You're just connecting party A to party B, right? And you're making money off of that. Very frictionless. There's no headaches. You don't have to go crazy about everything. You just, hey, I know someone who can help you. The system makes the intro, does everything at scale automatically, and you just sit there and enjoy your coffee, right? So this is kind of like the system. We found 5 from 10, which is actually very, very good, because think about it, like you're doing everything from scratch, right? And it's just 10. So if you have like a list of 1,000, you got 500, 2,000, it's 1,000. High intent with this exact copy, like framework, this is insane. Let's read through this. Hey, David, noticed Garni is hiring for a quality control manager. Looks like federal projects experience is key here, especially with that USACOCO certification. Folks with the mix of federal contracting, EM, whatever, and 10 years of construction experience aren't super common in the Charlotte area. Bets that's a tricky combo to find locally. Look at the tone. It's like a peer. Anyways, so there we go. Hopefully you guys found value in this one. This is kind of like the entire process of building this sort of stuff. I'm going to leave you the blueprints in the description. And like I always say, the only thing you have to do is simply just get out there, take action. I believe in you, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace. See you soon. Peace. See you soon. Peace. See you soon.